Alrighty. We're back up in the bit. I know I can't really cuss on YouTube, so not really cussing, but we're gonna do a little react today. We're gonna react to new rock stars and
But I like that Agatha takes it.
I have no
We
idea
open on the
if you guys can hear the there we go.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of Marvel's Agatha All Along, episodes 1 and 2, Seekest Thou the Road, and Circle Sewn with Fate Unlock Thy Hidden Gate. We are so back, witching spells, stitching theories, and itching for Mephisto here on New Rockstars. It's like the show was designed for us. It's like, I was made for this. And it will be our honor to guide you down this witch's plural possessive road for Easter eggs, secret layers of meaning, and every detail you might have missed. Thanks to Fabletics for sponsoring this video. More on them in a moment. And I want to hear all of your thoughts, your theories, your questions every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time on the Break Room channel, where Jessica and Brandon and Evan and Zach and John and I will be streaming live in a weekly Agatha Roundtable Q&A with all of you. So subscribe to the Break Room channel. Let's keep this conversation going over there. Okay, for the first time, Marvel Studios unveils its Marvel television bumper. It uses the same initial rapidly flipping comic book images that Marvel Studios title bumper opens with. For example, we once again see this armored fist. This is the fist of the Iron Man armor model 22, the Thor Buster armor from 2003's Invincible Iron Man number 64. This and several other familiar images are now filtered through an MTV-inspired 90s television graphics package that flickers with interference and glows the logo through these RBG cells, and then sharpens into a flat logo with kind of a Netflix-worthy sound effect. Starting in 2024, Marvel has aimed to brand titles like Agatha All Along and Daredevil Born Again as Marvel Television to distinguish these stories from the Marvel Studios films. We open on the road, not the road, but a rainy New Jersey road being driven on by Agatha Harkness, or Detective Agnes O'Connor, as she thinks she's named. She hums, "This is the Ballad of the Witch's Road," a song that will come back throughout the series. And the fact that Agnes is humming it here tells us that it's really a song that's already in her heart. Every time she journeys down any road, there's really only one road that she wants to be on. Later, Agnes even likens this particular road with the Witch's Road.
I was on a road this morning. It led to something pretty awful.
So remember, WandaVision ended with Wanda taking Agatha's powers and leaving Agatha in her own mental spell to think she's still living in a TV-themed world, despite the sitcom hex over the town of Westview being lifted. So this series is set 3 years after that. So in the MCU timeline, it would make this 2026. The character of Agatha Harkness really began as the governess of the family of the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards and Sue Storm. She came back in the 80s West Coast Adventure storyline as kind of a nanny figure to Wanda and Vision's kids, revealed to be a witch who's really serving Mephisto. She's never really had her own solo run, so this show has quite a bit of bandwidth to just make the character of Agatha Harkness whatever they want it to be. It's truly a classic TV spinoff in which Catherine Hahn is just making the character her own. Now, back in WandaVision, Wanda's spell seems specific to lighthearted sitcoms, but now Agatha is in a crime drama reality that's based on the HBO series Mayor of Easttown. Catherine Hahn is dressed like an emulated Kate Winslet's working-class Pennsylvania detective, and these opening shots are recreating the opening minutes of the second episode of Mayor of Easttown, when Mayor is driving up to the crime scene in which a young woman is found dead in a creek in the woods. Wanda Maximoff's defeat in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness seems to have altered the spell to be focused just more on death, thus the switch from sitcom to crime drama. Now, of course, Agatha is not in reality driving here, but as we see in episode 2, she's really just sitting in her living room, pressing her feet on boxes of cereal. And I love that the Agatha writers went to the lengths to justify that. David Payton returns from WandaVision as Westview resident John Collins, or Herb, the neighbor, as he was known in the Hex. He says, "Hey, neighbor." Of course, he greets Agnes as neighbor, and he's behind a line of yellow police tape, which in reality is probably John saying, "Hey, neighbor," from behind his row of yellow flowers. Agnes references her disciplinary action of punching a suspect.
Oh, now a convicted felon. Can't be right and wrong at the same time.
I assume Agatha's suspension might have come from her brawl with Wanda Maximoff, who the people of Westview actually now see as well. Herb says,
Jane Doe, found it down here by the water.
John Collins makes a subtle inflection choice here in the way he says water. Mayor of Easttown was parodied by Saturday Night Live in this hilarious murder sketch.
I didn't murder no one third. I got no idea how she ended up in the water.
But locals to the area will note that water is closer to how they say it in Baltimore. In the Philly suburbs, it's wooter. So Peyton really did the research and he nails it here. Herb says,
She was crushed.
By what?
Something big, heavy.
yes, referring to Wanda's end in Multiverse of Madness when the Darkhold Temple atop Mount Wundagore collapsed on top of her. The walls of that temple actually
Okay.
contained Chthon's original etchings of the Darkhold's text. So in a way, it was kind of
Okay, so originally when I'm starting to watch the show, because I just started watching Agatha all along, originally I thought that the Jane Doe was Agatha herself, you know? So to find out that it might be Wanda, interesting, because Wanda did have black fingers too.
the original Darkhold that closed on her. People who have a favorite pair of pants get it. They're your second skin.
We
They've
ain't got
gotta
no
be
time
exactly
for
right.
ads on this channel. Oh, snapski doodle. Oh, snapski doodle.
Make the most of your money with high-yield cash from Robinhood Gold.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric.
Big, heavy.
Yes, referring to Wanda's end in Multiverse of Madness from Fabletics. Plug juice and drops to
We
get
ain't
some
got no time
Fabletics
for
clothing
ads,
of your
like I
own and
said.
sign up for their VIP program.
Never know.
They're referring to the fact that when the temple collapsed, but then they tease us.
She is dead, though, isn't she, Herb?
Oh, she's really most sincerely dead.
Never know.
They're referring to the fact that when the temple collapsed, we did see a mysterious red glow in the rubble that could have been Wanda's death, or it could have been her teleportation, or just her transition into some other realm or some other form. Over the years, Kevin Feige and Elizabeth Olsen have indicated that Wanda could come back in some form in the future, and indeed, in the past week, people have discovered a copyright notice of a Scarlet Witch movie that might be coming in 2026.
Dead, right?
I think so.
You don't know or you won't say.
I assume as much.
The rocks landed on her,
Yeah. And there is a red light
and there was a red light.
of explosive energy.
Stuff, yeah.
But the wording of really most sincerely dead actually comes from The Wizard of Oz. In the corner of Munchkinland pronounces the Wicked Witch of the East this way. So Agnes sees this Jane Doe corpse and reaches for her chest as if wanting to touch the brooch that would normally be there. Like later, notice when she's changing all of her costumes, she always starts with a reach to this region. The corpse is barefoot and has black fingers. It's a common trope of corpses in crime dramas to focus on the deceased's colored fingers and toes, but in this case, the black fingers is a side effect of someone who uses the Darkhold. Agnes
Yeah,
finds her
like
brooch in
I
a puddle,
assumed
and her reflection is
with
placed perfectly over it so that it aligns the brooch exactly where it would be pinned to her chest. They roll the body, but Agnes's position and the head being hooded obscures the appearance of this person. This opening scene and much of this episode clearly wants us to think that this body belongs to Wanda Maximoff. They identify it as female. It was crushed by something heavy. The scarlet hair from under the sheets. But
I
then we
still
must
think
ask,
it's
why
Agatha.
are her feet bare? Did Wanda go to the Witch's Road. I don't want to deny that this body being Wanda is possible. I think Wanda is still alive somewhere out there and will return in some form. I'm just not positive if it will be on this series. So here is an alternate theory. This episode also likens the corpse with the Book of the Darkhold itself. Its toe tag is a Westview library card, which would make this body a book, and the previous possessors of it being Wanda and Agatha. So I think the corpse is just the Darkhold, taking the form of a human body in this TV reality. Also, I think the fact that they're making this book into a dead body could be pointing to the possibility that it may end up being Joe Locke's character, who might be Agatha's son, Nicholas Scratch. And right now, she's just seeing the corpse as female because the Darkhold text has really a feminine quality to it, as the text that foretells the Scarlet Witch. Later, Agnes even says,
Is she dead? Why do you assume it's a woman? I don't know. It sounds more titillating.
and we should acknowledge that Wanda's hair was never as red as the hair under the morgue sheet in that scene. Her hair in Multiverse of Madness was more of like a dirty blonde or a strawberry blonde. So it may just be that the Scarlet Witch in this case is just Scarlet's herring. As we proceed, I'll point to some other clues that corpse equals Darkhold equals Nikki Scratch equals Teen equals Agatha's sacrificed son. Since Mayor of Easttown doesn't have an opening title sequence, they used HBO's True Detective with the Lopez's recording of the Ballad of the Witch's Road, the crime version, with the same male Western vocals as the True Detective theme song from season 1. In this montage, we see the shot of the main road that leads into Westview past the welcome sign. This is where Monica Rambeau and Jimmy Woo stood in WandaVision episode 4. We see yellow police tape stretched across the forest floor, and we keep returning to this police tape as we see that visually it forms the Witch's Road. Its yellow color actually makes it look like the Yellow Brick Road from Wizard of Oz, which this series is definitely pulling from in several different ways. Instead of the actors' actual names, we get their character names, as Agatha has really just cast it within the spell. We see Agnes O'Connor, then Norm Gentilucci, Donnie Jones, Herb Feldman, Dennis Weber, and Mrs. Hart, which is hilarious because Agatha doesn't even know Mrs. Hart's first name. We see a scoreboard for a Westview versus Eastview football game. One of these teams' mascots are the Blue Devils, which would make an interesting contrast with the Scarlet Witch, right? They're tied at 14 with 2:26 to go in the fourth quarter, but Eastview's in possession at 1st and 10, which would put them in a decent position to win. And True Detective's title sequence is known for being surreal and spooky, and here there is a quick insert of either a toppled statue or a severely dehydrated corpse of a woman. Very creepy. And as the police tape stretches into the midst of the forest, we see, based on the Danish series Wanda Vis Dizen, which is hilarious because many compare True Detective to the Danish crime series for Briddelson, aka The Killing. And the final title card reads Agnes of Westview, which is clearly a take on Mayor of Easttown. So Agnes goes into the Westview library and meets with librarian Dottie Jones, real name Sarah Proctor, which we should note was the name of a real-life 16-year-old citizen of the Salem colony who was accused of witchcraft in 1692. Dottie, remember, was the one who in WandaVision episode 2 said this.
The devil's in the details, Bev.
That's not the only place he is.
And broke my brain. The library card is for a book titled Dialogue and Rhetoric, Known History of Learning and Debate, which of course Agnes later deduces the first letters to spell out Darkhold. The author is Andrew Ugo. Ugo is an Italian boy's name meaning heart or mind or spirit. I was playing around with this. Andrew Ugo is also an anagram for W. Danger. Without the S. We almost got there. Now, there are the following dates on the library card, just with the names erased. January 18th, October 22nd, February 4th, February 16th, August 28th, June 2nd, December 28th, January 21st, and October 13th. We later see W. Maximoff on October 13th and A. Harkness on January 21st. But by this logic, in total, there have been 9 total people who have possessed the Darkhold over the years, or at least this edition of it. January 18th, 2021 was the release date of WandaVision Episode 3 when Wanda gave birth to Billy and Tommy. February 6th.
All right, family. I don't know how this quality is going to be. Honestly, it's only going to get better. Eventually. I'll get there. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have a good night. Sweet dreams. Y'all be easy. Don't stay cheesy. That's called schmegma.